Hello, Mr. 0063, continuing on with Mega Man 8. And this is quite possibly the worst, most clumsy Robot Master stage I've let's played. I really do want to impale myself on... So, on the first half of this stage, nearly everything that could go wrong did. Once you open up the temple and then all the bats fly out, just hang back a bit here so they don't mark into you, the fun really begins. First half of the level is divided into 4 areas. You'll need to use a Robot Master weapon from each of the first 4 you defeated. That's Clown, Tengu, Grenade and Frost in order to progress. There's a thunder symbol next to the bottom left area, so that means we'll need Clown's oh-so-useless Thunderclaw. The gimmick here is that a spike ceiling or floor is closing in on us, and we need to hit a switch preventing it squished. Now, while the spikes are pretty slow moving, we do have lots of these statues in our way that we're going to need to destroy in order to make it a switch. And sometimes the timings really don't work out that nicely. Waiting here normally, no problem. When I have a loud spike floor chasing me, I tend to get a little bit antsy. Now, it's a bit risky to go for that bolt, as I'll now discover. I had to be quicker than normal, screwed up, although I'm calling ball on that bloody Thunderclaw once again, and decided just to tank the hit rather than immediately dart the spikes. And when things do go wrong, it can be very disorientating to put things away quickly, so yeah, you're going to be seeing this menu screen a lot. The last screen of these areas is always a hit the button one before exiting, but just make sure you do hit the button. I have been known to teleport out without doing so, and that of course means I have to replay the area all over again. Now the top left area has a tornado symbol, so this time we'll need to use Tengu's tornado hold. The gimmick here is you need to connect the bottom half of the door key with the top half. First screen's fine without Robot Master weapons, but now the bottom half is too low and we need to raise it up. Now I'm trying to be economical with my weapons here, which is just stupid because I've already taken damage, and an accidental purple run is out of the question. And in trying to do so, I take more damage, miss with the tornado anyway, and everything looks like a complete mess. And there was that menu screen again. Oh, and rather hilariously for you, I now spend ages trying to get this door key into position. I mean, I don't get hit again, but jeez, this just looks terrible. Thankfully though, that's the end. So jump over the spikes, hit the button, and get out of there. Now if you can see these pillars at the bottom of the screen opening, that's where we'll eventually head once all 4 open. Grenade symbol at the bottom right, so get out Grenade's flash bomb. What you're supposed to do is kill an enemy with the bomb, it lights up the screen and you can see a symbol etched into the background. It's very hard to see on this first screen, so apologies, but it looks like an umbrella. Hopefully it's a bit more visible this time around. It's still hard to make out exactly what it was, but it should at least be recognisable later. I think it was a totem, but you could call it a face as well. And while I make an enormous mess of this screen, the third symbol looked a little like an UFO. When you make it to this screen, press the buttons in the order they appeared. So umbrella, totem, and UFO. The order is random by the way, so don't think umbrella, totem, UFO work every time. And last but by no means least, an ice symbol at the top right, so use Frost's Ice Wave. Now you don't need to use it all the time, as you can see, there is room to stand between these fire pillars, so once again I'm trying to be economical. You definitely need to use Ice Wave here though, and then not just stand around while a bat dive bombs at you. Dear oh dear. And now I'm petrified about a fire pillar KOing me. Yes, it's a 1-hit kill. So here's the menu once again, while I collect my thoughts and figure out what I want to do. I'm sure it's possible to make this a little bit without Ice Wave, but by this point in time I'm like, screw it, who cares anymore. We also took out a few enemies you may have noticed there. Not acceptable for a perfect run, need to watch out for that, but fine for right now. And this time the button doesn't get its own little screen, it just so happens to be at the end of the corridor. And after getting my arse handed to me, I took damage in all 4 of those areas. I can finally progress through this bottom corridor and be greeted by a mini-boss. Oh, wonderful. This is the Gearna Eye, and while it can be annoying at times, far less so than the Junk Eye. Normally, at least, as I fail to dodge its first attack. It spends all its time clinging to the right-hand wall, occasionally opening up its eyes to reveal a jewel, and that's what you need to attack. When the eye does open, it'll do one of three things, or at least it can. Unfortunately for you, it did the same attack every single time during the portion of the fight on this occasion, so you're not going to get to see a lot of variety. It can move up or down and shoot fireballs while it's moving. Typically you want to jump both fireballs, but sliding under the higher one is also an option. Or it can stay still and shoot 3 fireballs in quick succession, but you need to jump all over at once. Or it can stay still and shoot 3 fireballs in less quick succession, but you need to jump over one at a time. When it's down to half health, it summons this robot hammer to destroy the bridge, and you now have to continue the fight on just these 3 pillars. Lava, of course, is instantaneous death. It's probably pretty obvious, but try to stay on the left pillar as much as you can. That'll give you far more reaction time to dodge whatever fireball pattern comes your way. Of course, things are never that simple. Sometimes the hammer will destroy one of the pillars. So my rule would be to move to the leftmost pillar that the hammer isn't hovering above. As trying to predict exactly when it will destroy a pillar is tough. And if it does so while you're in the air trying to dodge fireballs, you'll likely find your landing spot is no longer there. And in case you're wondering, I didn't get damage at the end there because he was already dead. Although not quite sure why that's the case. The fireball shouldn't become ethereal. I could have easily dodged it, however. My reward for success, another Rush upgrade, Rush Bomber. And again, I'll show it off at a later point. So we're 6.5 minutes in, and that is only the midpoint of the stage. Thankfully, the second half is far shorter, and in my opinion, far easier. You have to use this platform to ride the lava spurts, jump on the 2 buttons to move the platform side to side. And yay, the hammer's back! This time the level portion of the stage when we have to deal with statues and bats. It's difficult to offer any definitive advice here. Maybe wait until the hammer is about to destroy the pillar you're standing on before moving on, but easier said. Careful here not to end up under the spike ceiling on the lava spurts. And obviously, move back to the left quickly before the left lava spurt recedes and you land on the spike floor. So for this screen, it's the top area that's going to cause problems. Try to wait for an opportune time to climb the ladder, destroy the statues and currently on screen, and then wait for more statues to spawn. Kill those quickly and then slide through to safety. If you try to make it all the way in one go, chances are the statues will spawn right in when you're underneath them. And for this last lava platform section, pay attention to the right hand side of the screen and try to destroy the bats as soon as you can. If you let them swoop at you, you're in trouble. So 6.5 minutes to start the second half of the stage and an 8 minutes with the Robot Master. Yeah, a lot shorter second half.
Nothing personal, but I've got orders.
Swordman, after that insanely long level, is mercifully, in my opinion at least, one of the easiest of all Mega Man 8 Robot Masters. And that's despite the somewhat limited window opportunity you have to damage him. That's not going to stop me screwing up yet again during this Let's Play of the stage. Twice? But I guess I might as well cram all the failures into one stage, right? Sword has actually 4 moves that he can try. He can split himself in half, his legs moving across the bottom of the screen and his torso head flying off the top of the screen. For this, jump over his legs and you'll be fine. After this move he'll attack with his flame sword, but as long as you're over in the opposite corner of the screen, this will never reach you. He can split himself in half by putting his torso and head at you in a fire slash, slide underneath him, wait until the grinding sound on the wall, all the sparks coming off from the wall stop, and then slide back underneath him. He can jump to the wall, some of the giant statues come crashing down the top of the screen, slide out of the way of it. Or he can surround himself in a fire column. Just don't be an idiot and walk into it for any reason. More clumsiness, yay! Now unfortunately the only time you really get to attack him is when he's about to launch an attack, or he summons a statue. But all of the times, your attacks won't damage him. And you also have to attack his head. You'll no doubt have seen some bullets bouncing harmlessly off him, so that narrows the plot considerably. And of course, if you want to spam certain attacks, then the fight drags out even longer. But actually, He's a very honourable Robot Master, complimenting him if he dodges attacks, even when he's ultimately destroyed. So I'll give him a pass on that front. Okay, now you're just putting off the inevitable.
Nice shot.
Awful, awful showing on my part. Richly undeserved, but I get... It is and does exactly what its name suggests. Well, that was all fun. Perfect running that stage is going to be a bugger, isn't it? Well, wouldn't you know it, this actually turned out to be not bad at all. And some of the quote-unquote outtakes I experienced are actually Robot Master weapon failures than me getting hit. One failure from the back dive bombing at me, and 2 Thunderclaw related mess ups here. God, I hate that weapon. Both times I missed trapeze, and since I've used weapon energy unnecessarily, that's enough to make me have to start all over again. It's incidentally the reason why I always went to the Thunder area first. Much less disappointment if things were going to go wrong. Could you imagine me making it through the other 3 areas, only to have to start over because the hitbox on that stupid weapon screwed me over while going through the 4th? Yeah. Looking a lot more competent this though, isn't it? Yeah, the tornado area passed without any incident. And I have no idea what on earth I was doing in the Let's Play version. Now, you'll notice here that I'm not using flash bombs to light the area and determine the symbol code. That's because you can retry entering the code as many times as you like, and hence I don't have to use up any weapon energy. If you press the wrong button, statues drop from the ceiling, but you can easily kill them and repeat until you've hit all 3 buttons to reset the system. Then just try hitting a different button and try again. Of course, me being me, I hit the wrong first button twice out of a possible 3 to try, so yay. The most number of attempts I'd actually need is 4, so it's not like I'm going to be here forever no matter how unlucky I am. And I actually got the code right on my 3rd try, so I wasn't unlucky as I could have been. And 3 outtakes in the Frost area. Either not positioning myself well enough between lava pillars, or overusing the Frost Wave to kill enemies. Particularly here. I'm able to use the Mega Bus to take out these enemies rather than the Frost Wave, so again, it's a weapon economy thing. Maybe I was being way too harsh on myself with that rule, but to me, an essential weapon or utility use only rule means just that. And Frostwave isn't essential here to destroy the bats or the fire mets. Time for the mid-boss, and despite my 3 outtakes on it, I still maintain that after the mid-boss of Tengu stage, this is by far the next easiest. If you hand back to the left, the first half shouldn't really pose too many problems. It's the second phase where things get a bit hairy. 2 faders from not managing to jump over all 3 quick succession fireballs, and one time the hammer caught me completely off guard, knocking me into the lava. At least you get to see a bit of variety with the boss attacks this time though. As for the second half, well, I said during the Let's Play, but it's a lot easier. And I actually only had 1 mess up. It came on the last screen, so that was rather irritating, not going to lie. And it was a diving back that caught me out. But ultimately, it was such a relief to have made it that far through the second half on just my first attempt.
Let's make this a fair fight.
Fire slash.
Thankfully, unlike my Let's Play fight, no problems with Swordman.
Impressive.
I usually find him very easy, and even while being incredibly nervous on the cusp of a perfect run, that proved to still be the case.
Impressive.
One thing I do think is worth mentioning though, is that Sword's animation when he's either about to split in 2 or jump to the wall is incredibly similar, and I can never actually tell which one he's going to do. So I always jump. If he jumps to the wall, no hardship, and if he splits apart, then I'll jump over his legs. Might look a bit peculiar, jumping when it turns out to be unnecessary, but I'll take unnecessary over getting hit any day.
Final strike.
And that's pretty much everything extra I had to say on Sword. So enjoy the remainder of the fight.
Impressive. Final strike. Fire slash. Impressive. Fire slash. Impressive. Fire slash. Impressive. Final strike. Length. Final strike. Length. Fire slash. Impressive. Nice shot.
There was a reason I left this stage until second to last. Length. I expected this to be a nightmare level to have to get through. As it turned out, not so much. It only took 35 minutes to achieve a perfect run on a level that ordinarily takes around 10 minutes to complete anyway. Suffering just the 10 outtakes, none of which on the Robot Master. And thank goodness. Could you imagine having to complete this level again because you screwed up on a pretty simple boss? Simple at least when not doing a Let's Play anyway. Length is the killer here, or at least I expect it to be, rather than any one thing being especially difficult. I actually like the theme of having the 4 different areas at the start of the level, where you have to make use of each of the first 4 Robot Master weapons, Thunder, Claw aside, and at least a couple of them, when on a only use Robot Master weapons when necessary mission, require a bit more stealth and tension than they otherwise might. There are definite opportunities to make a mess of things, probably more so in the Thunder, Claw and Frostwave areas, but nothing that's irritating. The mid-boss steps up the difficulty. Some of the fire shot patterns can be annoying to dodge, especially in tandem with the hammer once you need to jump from platform to platform. 3 mess-ups from me here. But this is still probably the second easiest of the 5 mid-bosses, others being on clowns, tengus, grenades and aqua stages, and 2 of those I don't even have to think about. Bloody Junk Eye and not as of yet seen weird fish thing from Aqua Stage. The second half of the level I found much easier. I only screwed up once. It's the diving bats that cause trouble. The rest is mainly pretty simple lava platform manipulation. But those bats will catch you out if you're not prepared for them. And I got caught out on the last screen. A tad annoying, not gonna lie. Swordman, thankfully, coming at the end of what can be an 8-minute level when you know what you're doing, is one of the easiest of the Mega Man 8 Robot Masters. Again, when you're not recording footage for a Let's Play. I've talked about how to avoid all his attacks. The only thing probably worth repeating is although I can never tell whether he's going to split apart and charge across the room, or jump to the wall, in preparation I always jump toward the middle of the room. If he jumps up the wall, fine, nothing lost, backtrack to the wall and then slide to the middle to avoid the falling obelisk. If he splits apart, great! I'll jump through the gap between his legs and his torso and make it to safety. Everything else Sword does is extremely telegraphed and very easy to dodge. I'll cop to being frustrated once again by the sucky detection of the Thunderclaw, but even this, since I managed to complete the stage so quickly, couldn't possibly have wiped the beaming smile off my face. I'll admit that this is another stage with an underflated rating. I don't believe it to be this easy by any stretch of the imagination, but with stats like these, what can I do? Sword gets an extremely lowly 2 out of 10, the lowest score in Mega Man 8. First half of the level is the more threatening for me, no question. 9 out of my 10 outtakes occurred there, although granted that includes the mid-boss and the stupid area where you need to Thunderclaw. But the second half, including Swordman, was almost trouble-free. Ultimately, the length of the stage is what I feel should earn Sword a higher rating. Naturally, toward the end, I start to get very nervous, but somehow this time around, I was able to get through with relative ease. And based on those stats, I just can't go any higher than 2 out of 10. So that stage turned out to be far easier than I expected. Will my good fortune last? How will I aqua-do with the final Robot Master stage? You'll find out next time. Cheerio.